In Chapter 14 of Revelation with 0 strength and magic against enemies with 100 crit, we get a lot of new characters that probably won't see much use. At the start of the map, we get Elise, who has 0 strength and magic, Arthur, who has 0 strength and magic, and Effie, who has 0 strength and magic. Arthur and Effie join at too low of a level to be of any real use. Elise's personal skill is potentially useful as a damage reduction aura, but only affecting adjacent units. It's hard to position with a unit that can't really fight. At this point in the game, we have finally unlocked level 2 weapon shops, allowing us to buy very powerful magical weapons like the Levin Sword and Bolt Axe, and various effective weapons like the Beast Killer. Unfortunately, many of my characters cannot actually use these weapons yet because they don't have enough weapon rank. And since you can only get one armor scroll at this point in the game, I will have to figure something out to gain the requisite rank mid-map. This Revelation chapter reuses the map from Conquest Chapter 10, and it is a route map with a truly large number of reinforcements. One particularly troublesome feature is the presence of a very large number of promoted paladins, who each have very high HP defense and resistance, making them hard to take down. In particular, Corrin's Dragonstone, which has carried me for a lot of the game so far, is no longer sufficient to defeat these enemies in a timely fashion. For my first attempt, I tried to block the paladins at the lower right choke point, but they bust through the breakable wall on the left, which very quickly forces a reset. For my subsequent attempts, I decided to reclass Corrin for a Great Knight, as he has already obtained Draconic Hex from the Noria Noble class line. This drastically drops his offensive capabilities, but is a necessary setback for future potential. In my later attempts, I end up pushing everyone to the upper left of the map. The fire orb near the starting area helped out a lot because it does fixed damage independent of the user's magic stat, which in my case is 0. This long range chip damage lets me drop most of the enemies on the left to very low HP, allowing me to swoop in and defeat them in one shot. I have Camilla block the area on the left, while I leave a Great Knight Corrin outside to farm weapon XP. Corrin's high defense and Draconic Hex skill lets him nullify most enemies that fight him, so he can tie up a lot of enemies while slowly increasing his lance rank by doing no damage with a bronze lance. However, since you can only gain weapon XP a maximum of 5 times per enemy, I have to occasionally bait enemies away with my other units so I can refresh the enemies fighting Corrin and farm additional weapon rank. Soon, Corrin managed to obtain D rank lances, letting him equip the Beast Killer, which has 3x effective might against cavalry enemies, allowing Corrin to do tremendous damage to enemy paladins even with 0 strength. The other difficult enemy type on this map are enemy generals, and I deal with them by applying chip damage with Poison Strike or Savage Blow before finishing them off with a magical weapon such as a Bolt Axe from Camilla or a Levin Sword from Felicia. I use my only arm scroll to boost Felicia's weapon rank to be able to use a Levin Sword, which pays off immediately because she also obtains the Life and Death skill on this map. Life and Death plus a magical weapon is a game-changing combination. This is because magical weapons have pretty high base might and enemies have low resistance, so the knock-on effect of having 0 strength and 0 magic isn't as significant as it would be for physical damage. And this combo is actually strong enough to let Felicia one-round most enemies, which is kind of ridiculous. I fight all of the enemies until the reinforcements stop spawning, and then go throughout the map to recruit 2 more characters, the first being Charlotte, who has 0 strength and magic. Just like Arthur, Charlotte isn't very useful. I then recruit Benny, who has 0 strength and magic, and he's higher level than Effie, but is also not really worth using because we will get much better units pretty soon. I then move to fight Silas, the stationary boss of this map, and I repeatedly attack him from 2 range with Baruka, using Azura's Sing to move Baruka away so Silas can't switch and retaliate with his javelin. After the entire map is routed, we recruit the 6th and last character for this chapter. It's Silas, who has 0 strength and magic. Silas is decently bulky with high defense and HP, and can provide decent shelter utility. He's a good enough filler unit, but at this point good enough isn't really good enough because we already have enough good enoughs, and the additional good that his goods would add is clearly not enough to outweigh the goods of other good enoughs who are gooder than he while using less goods to be good.